Yo, what's up? It's Drippy Drew. Yeah, I'm a bit rusty. I haven't done much with this alias, at least like content-wise, as I get fucking pop up on my computer. Yeah, I haven't done much content-wise in like the past 2 years. And basically this video, I'm just gonna go into why or like what I'm doing. Just like a whole syllabus of like my content journey to this point. And like how we got to here, right? Because, I've been told by people that I actually have like an interesting story that is worth sharing. So, I figured I'd just do it here. Maybe there's like an underlying thesis, maybe not. I'm just going off the dome. And yeah, so I originally made my original channel back like 7th grade. I made it for my 13th birthday, so YouTube finally couldn't like take my shit down, because I had like I didn't even post on like these accounts, but they got taken down by YouTube because like the kids thing in like 2020. You remember when everyone thought that was gonna ruin YouTube, then like it was literally nothing. But like, yeah, I just always loved YouTube as a kid and was just like, I want to do that, right? And it's not like, I'm just doing it for the money and oh, that's an incentive, right? But like, I actually enjoyed making the videos, like the whole process, and I had like innate talent, I guess is the way to put it. And I remember I used to edit stuff back in like middle school, and then people are like, oh shit, you edited this? And I was just like, yeah. And they're like, wow. Yeah, I remember having this conversation with my one friend, and two things came out of this conversation where I was like, I'm gonna start a channel. He was like, what's your name gonna be? And eventually he gave me Drippy Drew. And then the other thing that happened was, I remember telling him, I don't even want to be a big channel. I just want to make some money on the side and have like 20k subscribers. And then this dude looked at me, right? And he was like, 20,000 people. You know how many people that is, dude? He was like, that's a lot. So, that was kind of like the first like reality check. Like, even on my old channel, like under like 500, like I couldn't fit all those people in my house, bro. So like that's a crazy like humbling experience, right? So I start just like throwing shit at the wall, seeing what sticks on that channel. There's some like YTPs, some I had other videos I took down. There was some re-uploads, which we'll get back to those later because those bit me in the ass hard. So eventually I land on gaming. Yeah, none of my friends really wanted to do YouTube with me. It's just like, yeah, I get it. Like, I'm not gonna force you to, be in my videos if you're not funny either. Except one person, and this dude was Dan. Dan that. So if you watched my old channel, you obviously know Dan. I still talk to him every day. This dude's like probably the best friend I ever had. Nah, he is. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying not to glaze him too hard here. But yeah, he was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. He had like re-uploads too, but like he wasn't taking YouTube serious. Like he was just he was just down to help me. So yeah, we filmed this video, Time of Building episode 1. It's like building time, but our version. So the video didn't age the best, but it was fun. Eventually I want to keep up the momentum, right? But then I ended up getting my laptop taken away for 3 months. I didn't even do anything. My mom was just on like some demon mode timing, right? I got my laptop back eventually, and it never got taken away like that again, because they kind of realized they fucked up and that was dumb. I didn't really do anything. But I couldn't work on videos, no OBS, no like editing software, really, besides like the phone. I did like Time of Building on phone, but that was hella annoying. So eventually, I tried Sony Vegas, and I was like, yeah, nah, this ain't it. And then I tried Adobe Premiere Pro, which is what I use now. I was just like, fuck yes, dude, this is it. So I can't make videos during this time. And besides my laptop at the time, I had a Switch and I had a phone, so I wasn't doing anything really. So that's when I got bored and I started working on music. I originally made the name Drippy Drew for it sounds like a YouTuber and it sounds like a like shitty SoundCloud rapper, but that was the point. It was like the branding. So I started working on music. It wasn't good, but it was like listenable. Like, I was another like major part of my identity. I loved rap. I still love rap. I collect like every vinyl I could get of these rappers, bro. I got like, I got Drake, Biggie, Tupac, J. Cole, Kendrick, Travis, trying to get more. I got like Freddie Gibbs on the bucket list. But yeah, the point is I love rap. So, I'd work on the music. It didn't really go anywhere, but it was just like in the back of my mind. So I got my computer back for summer. It's time to lock in on YouTube again, right? Because, I just lost all the momentum I had. I gotta get it back. Well, I make like 2 videos over the summer. They don't really do well. It was kind of just me having fun by myself. But eventually we get to Drew and Dan. So, real ones know Drew and Dan. Drew and Dan was a server me and Dan made just for us. Then we had my friend Connor, which as Hot Tub Man, we invited. And then we had my friend Octo, but I just call him Andre because I've known him for like most of my life. And yeah, he's the guy I had that conversation with earlier. I don't think I mentioned that. Yeah, so it's just the 4 of us, and then me and Dan are just like, this is boring as fuck, because the other 2, weren't getting on because no one's playing. I was just like, well, if I open applications on my YouTube channel and we make this like a little series. So Dan was like, all right, bet. So we do it. I got some controversy because I copied a part of the thumbnail. Well, I copied the idea of the thumbnail, which like is fine, but I just straight up copied like the character they used. So yeah, these dudes fucking raided my server. They were like chuds, I'm not gonna lie. I remember just like keeping up with them after for spite. Like one of them, he just deleted all his videos, fucking pussy. But we get applications, we meet some people, we meet Vane. If you watch my channel, you know him. And then we met King Game. He'll come into play a lot more later. The server was pretty successful. I'm getting subscribers, hella subscribers actually. I was getting like 50 a day at some points. I remember I was on vacation at Myrtle Beach, like 2022. I go for like Christmas every year usually, and I'm just refreshing, watching the sub count go up, and I'm like, holy shit. So, that's happening. The subs were mostly from the re-uploads, because the 2 re-uploads got like 100k views, and that really killed my channel in the back half, but we'll get into it. I started putting out polls, and it was just like, the polls were like, yeah, we just want like Mr. Krabs, Arby's shit, or like Squidward smokes weed. So Drew and Dan dies pretty quickly, like every SMP, what's new. So I just go back to doing what I did, but with my friends, my new friends, and we were just posting videos, just like us playing like minigame servers, Hive, KeyCraft. And then yeah, I started working on this new server, Potato. If you guys came from a King Games video, then you already know all about that, so I'm not gonna talk about that clusterfuck. I mean, that was like partially my fault. It was just a shit ton of unfortunate events in the same sequence. So Potato does ass. My name is kind of going through the ringer because I was seen as like the Drake in the God's Plan music video. I was just giving these kids handouts with like invites to my SMP, right? In like the Bedrock community, the Java, I was trying to get in the Java community, but I was still hella niche in Java. So I'm just like, I'm done with SMPs. Let me go back to my old content. That was doing good, and like people relatively stuck around after Drew and Dan from that. Actually, after that, I took like a 2-month break. Yeah, I took a 2-month break because I had like finals for school, so I need to lock in. It was summer. I wasn't doing anything. I was unemployed as fuck because I was 15. Yeah, it was the end of it was freshman going into sophomore year. I live in New York, so like you can't really work. The summer, my goal changed very fast. The start of the summer was YouTube, and then the second half was music, also like this minigame server, but it didn't really get off the ground. So, I was kind of at like my wit's end with YouTube at this point because, Potato was just like, I spent like 3 months on that and that shit flopped. But it was like, whatever, we'll worry about SMP later. We don't need one to make good content. I started this thing called like the Renaissance / like the Drippy Drew Summer, I was gonna do 2 videos a week, like Tuesday and Fridays, I think. You could check the community post. Yeah, that was not the best idea. I actually thought about it ahead, and I had like 2 videos edited, so I had the first 2 days done. So I was already a week ahead, which you know, was smart. So I kept the schedule for 3 videos, yeah. So basically a week. You know, I thought uploading more would help my channel, but yeah, no, fuck no. Also, my hard drive, I didn't have the most storage on my old computer. I'm recording it on this one because I don't have like my YouTube shit set up on my new one. But yeah, my old one doesn't have that much storage. It had like 200 gigabytes, so I needed an external hard drive, you know, just for like games and the whole footage, right? You know, I bought this hard drive, but it didn't have a fan built in. I have a new one with a fan, so I'm chilling, but it's like slower, so I'm not really gonna use it. But my old one didn't have a fan, so it basically just overheated and fucking killed itself. I had Time of Building episode 2 like halfway done. I had the footage on that hard drive, then it corrupted, so I was just like, fuck this shit, I'm done. Because the re-uploads kept my channel dead, and the people that subscribed, the other people that subscribed were just like waiting for me to do a SMP. You know, that should be the end of the story, right? But nah, it's not. So I'm talking with Dan, and you know, as I stated earlier, we're from New York. We see fucking Lil Mabu getting popular, right? I've actually never told this story because I think it's embarrassing, but Dan was just like, you know, we could do that. I was just like, yeah, we fucking could, because like I already had musical experience. And then, you know, I was just like, so let's do it. So, you know, music became the goal. Yeah, so I start making music. You know, 2024 March, I dropped my first song officially, Tsunami. It actually does pretty well. It's got a few thousand streams on Spotify. Go check it out. Yeah, after that, I kinda miss YouTube. So I'm like, how about I try and do another SMP, because, you know, King Game's been waiting for one for a while, and he wants to do one too, so he's gonna like help me, right? And we're just gonna use like the power of friendship and get it done. So we start this SMP, but it doesn't do the best. Well, mainly because the community, the Minecraft community, changed a lot. Even just from that year, from like Potato, the community changed a ton. So, you know, I was just like, I'm gonna just work on my music, actually lock it on my music. So, you know, I do that. King Game has like a ton of personal shit going on, so he's not really uploading, right? You know, so eventually fall comes around, and winter, we're in 2025 now, and I finish my first mixtape called The Come Up. It's on, it used to be on streaming, but all the shit was illegal, so I took it down. Now it's on YouTube only. I think it's on SoundCloud, but like, who uses SoundCloud? You know, it flopped. Looking back, I'm not surprised. The music wasn't the best. You know, I knew it wasn't really it when, like, not even, like, my friends would be like, you got potential, bruh. But I knew there was something there. I just had to, like, refine the craft. You know, over the summer, I start working on the mixtape that's coming out now, Viginator. And, yeah, I'm also working part-time over the summer. So, yeah, I just do those 2 things. Chill with like friends and family, and yeah, it's my summer. And then I go back to school, keep working on the music, and yeah, we're basically here now where the album is done. I've also worked on my label a fair bit too. I signed this guy Kid Icarus. Go check out his music if you like Plug and Beat and like hyperpop. So yeah, now we're here. I'm done with high school, and you know, I kind of want to come back to YouTube and streaming, right? You know, my friends made my videos. It was always, you know, I'm the flagship guy, right? But it was always like me. It was always like Drew and friends, right? So, you know, I'm talking to my friends like Dan and like my other friends that you guys don't know, like if we should actually come back. And yeah, so yeah, they were like, yeah, let's fucking do it. You know, a comeback is coming. You know, it's probably gonna be similar. It's gonna still have like the same like type of content as like my old content, I'd say. But, you know, fresh coat of paint, mostly new people. I'm hyped for you to meet, like, my new friends. They're funny. You know, but, like, the old ones are still gonna be there. And, yeah, that's really all I gotta say. I guess, like, a crappy little thesis I can give for this is that, like, you know, if you actually care about something, like, you don't give up, even if you think it's, like, completely over. Because, like, you know, most people's YouTube phase will end, like, if their channel died like mine, and they didn't go to, like, a new one. Also, just like learning from my past mistakes, obviously, like my old channel Potato. So yeah, new content soon. I'll probably make like a trailer of like some of the new videos coming out, because you know the videos are gonna be pre-recorded, so I'll just post like a trailer so y'all see what's coming at the end here. And yeah,
so I'll introduce myself. I'm head server on Base Smash Wither.
Officer, was there a problem here?
Officer, I have a question.
Yo, shooter, you went down.
Please let me join the gang.
What's him?
Yo, gun him down for a chance you get, bro.
Hey, idiot!
Yo,
move! You shoot the gorilla, shoot the gorilla, shoot the gorilla. Shoot it, shoot it, shoot it.
Bro, you sound like a leftover drag.
can't see no hate, think I'm Stevie Wonder. All these bums are giving me numbers. Fuck up this year, I'm running the summer. I saw my wrist going dumber and dumber.